Hi guys, James at Rampant Lion Reviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head up to Landskrona once again, just to the north of me here in Lund in Skåne in the south of Sweden, and we're going to have a look at a beer that you can actually get in the supermarkets here. This one of course is a folkso, which means it's 3.5%, so that's the rule in Sweden. If it's above 3.5% it has to go into Systembolaget, which is the government monopoly here. So for this one we're going to do another beer brewed by Brekeriet, who are a specialist sour beer brewery, and this is a collaboration that they've done with In Brewing, who are from Gothenburg, Göteborg you should say in Swedish, and these guys are a gypsy brewery. They brew at a lot of different breweries around at the Gothenburg area, but the beer itself is called In, folks. It's a Berliner Weiss brewed with Huell melon hops from Germany, coming in at 3.5%, so it should be a really interesting one this. Looking forward to trying it. I've always enjoyed the lower ABV beers from Brekeriet. It's strange that some of the higher ABV ones I've been like, yeah, this is okay, but some of the low ABV ones really have been really top class. So looking forward to this one. Two good breweries involved, which you can't ask for anything more than that, but looking forward to trying this one, and as always I hope you guys enjoy my take on this beer. So anyway, as is usual with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the breweries involved here. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that I've done both from Brekeriet and from In Brewing before. No doubt I will add some more in the near future. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel of course has a geography based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beers based on country, city, state, county, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlist of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the Swedish beers that I've reviewed for you. That's constantly being added to, and as always please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Brekeriet first off then, on to my brewery notes. So Brekeriet, as I've told you before, were originally based in Gothenburg, which is just outside of Malmö, and they're now based in Landskrona, which is kind of halfway between me and Lund and Helsingborg to the north. But the company was founded back in 2011 by the Ek brothers. The name literally means in English, if I'm remembering correctly, oak as in oak tree. But these guys are Fredrik, Christian and Andre Ek, and it's a specialist brewery in wild beers, sour beers, however you want to term them, using Brettanomyces and Lactobacillus. And they were the first brewery in Sweden to do this, and they remain, as far as I know, the only brewery that are exclusively specialised in these sour beer, wild ale type things. But they do some really awesome stuff, I have to say. If you are interested in this style, Brekeriet are one of the ones that you really do want to check out. But the original brewery is based in the old brewhouse in Gothenburg, and this was actually a kind of commune brewery for the local farmers once upon a time. But they brewed their first beers in 2012, and this brewery really had a very modest production capacity of only 500 litres per brew, which gave them a yearly capacity of around 38,000 litres. But as of 2015 they have a new brewery in Landskrona, and they can produce 20 hectolitres of beer per brew there, and they have a fermentation capacity of around 80 hectolitres of beer there as well. So, and I think that actually might have been expanded even further, because they're doing a lot of exports and things these days. But apparently for a period of time they were producing their wild bunch beers continuously in Landskrona and brewing the sour patch ones down in Gothenburg along with some of the one-off beers. But I believe all production has now completely been moved up to Landskrona. But in 2014 these guys actually caused a little bit of a stir, because they withdrew completely from Systembolaget in Sweden. They basically cited the bureaucracy of this kind of monopoly system. It was making them difficult really to get a lot of their different beers in there, because they do want to be experimental, but they decided to focus on their exports abroad. And then later in 2016 thankfully they came back, and I believe I actually reviewed the first beer that Brekeriet had back in Systembolaget back when I was still studying physics, of course. But yeah, a really interesting brewery this one. Like I say, specialist in sour beers and wild ales, and they do some pretty damn awesome stuff. So if it's a style that you enjoy, you really want to check out this brewery. I've had some very good experiences with them in the past, so yeah, have a taste of them and see what you think. So anyway, on to the second part of my brewing notes then, In Brewing. So these guys are quite an interesting brewery. As I told you earlier, they're based in Gothenburg, Göteborg, and there are 8 people behind the brewery, including 3 brewers. So they started up in 2012 under Pelle Frost, and they released their first beers that year as well. The first beer that they produced was a collaboration with the Italian brewery Tocco al Mato, and they do plan to have their own brewery in the future, but right now they're brewing at a variety of host breweries, mainly in the Gothenburg area. But in the early years they used to travel around Europe making different collaborations, but recently they've mainly been sticking to Sweden to brew all of their different beers. So they started brewing with Brewski in Helsingborg, and for a period one of the brewers, Lucas, worked full-time at Brewski, brewing both the all-in beers and the Brewski beers. But Brewski soon of course grew quite a lot, and then that arrangement had to stop, so for a while they were brewing at West Coast Brewery near Gothenburg as well, which I think they've rebranded themselves West Coast Beersmiths if I'm remembering correctly, and I think they actually are now brewing some of their beers at Popels Brewery in Jonserod, which is kind of to the northeast of Gothenburg if I'm remembering correctly. But they are still a gypsy brewery. As far as I know, they don't have their own facility yet, but the three brewers at the brewery are Lucas, Victor and Andreas, and they've always been into the big fruity kind of hoppy American style IPAs, but they also like imperial stouts as well. But Victor and Andreas are the kind of original guys, while Lucas was headhunted from another brewery and he's now the head brewer from what I understand. But they work as a team to create all the different beers that they released, and in 2015 they were voted as one of the top 100 brewers in the world by Rate Beer. But every year they have their own little beer festival which is called All In Beer Fest. I do need to make sure and go up and visit that one time, but in the first year they had 1700 visitors and over 30 breweries, so I do need to actually get up there and have a little look at that one time. It does sound like it would be quite a nice thing, and I've not actually spent all that much time in Gothenburg yet, so I really do need to go up there and check that out. But some of the guys from the All In Brewery and some of the guys from the Dugas Brewery in Gothenburg as well are the owners of the Brewers Bar, which is supposed to be very, very cool as well. So again, that's somewhere that I definitely need to go and check out. But these guys are one of the many breweries around Gothenburg. Gothenburg, to be honest, is Sweden's beer city these days, and as I say, if you get the chance to try some of the All In Brewing beers, I really recommend that you do. I'm not sure how widely available they are outside of Sweden, but like I say, I highly recommend that you check some of these beers out because they are pretty damn good, I have to say. But yeah, that's all you really need to know about both breweries just now. Let's get on to the actual tasting of this beer itself. If you want to learn anything more, do check out the brewery websites in the description below. You can follow them on Facebook and Instagram and keep up to date with all the things that are going on, because both breweries are fairly prolific, so there's always new beers and things coming out. But yeah, let's get on to the tasting of this beer itself. So on the side here it says this one is one of their special series. It says All In Folks is a collaboration beer brewed by Brekeriet and All In Brewing at Brekeriet's brewery in Sweden. And it says on the front here, a fruity and refreshing Berliner Weiss with Huell melon hops, which are a German hop of course, and a Brettanomyces yeast. So really nicely presented, this one. There you can see, there's the All In Brewing symbol there. I'll just bring up to the camera so you can see. There's the Brekeriet B, and that of course is on the bottle cap as well. I bought this beer at the ICA just next to the train station in Landskrona. I was very surprised to find that there was 3 of Brekeriet's beers in there, but it was very, very cool, and I just kind of thought, you know, I have to get some of these and take them home. But without further ado, let's get this guy out and we'll get on with the tasting. Looking forward to this. Yeah, nice smoky opening there, and we'll get it out and into the glass. Oh, that looks good. Oh, just let it calm down a wee bit. I got a little bit carried away there, I have to say. As you do when it comes to beer, being a Scotsman and everything. But yeah, as you can see with this one, it's poured a nice kind of pale, really pale golden straw colour actually. That looks pretty damn nice, I have to say. But yeah, if I put my fingers behind the glass there, you can see it is pretty opaque, and it really does smell of melon actually. These Huell melon hops, you can really smell that from it straight away. But yeah, you can see there's a solid 2.5, nearly 3 fingers of a frothy white head to this one. 1 or 2 big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, and a few little ones just going up towards the bottom of that head there. But you know, overall, it does look pretty nice actually. I do think that looks pretty good. If I hold it up to the light, it stays the pale golden straw colour. The light going through it doesn't change the appearance at all. But yeah, it looks pretty much as you would expect from a Berliner Weiss. So let's take a closer look at the aroma and just see how we get on with this one. Yeah, when you go into it a little bit more, straight up you get the Brettanomyces coming out of this one. It's got that nice kind of sharp lemony sherbet quality that you'd expect. You can smell a little bit of the wheaty character in there, definitely got a little bit of wheat malt, a little bit of a biscuity sweetness as well, and you can smell some of the kind of straight up pale malt as well actually. But yeah, an interesting one. It's got a good bit of grassiness to it as well, which is kind of interesting. The one thing I always find quite interesting with these German hops, especially the ones that are a little bit higher alpha acid, they always tend to maintain their, that noble, grassy and earthy quality, because you can definitely pick up a little bit of that noble hop aroma in here, but I'm guessing they've probably used, they might well have used one of the German noble hops as the base hop and put the whole melon in for a little bit of a, an aroma hop or something like this. I'm not sure I'm not too well versed in the brewing process of a Berliner Weiss right enough, but yeah, it's something that is quite interesting, I have to say. But yeah, a little bit of earthiness in there, that sweet German noble earthiness, a little bit of floral and grassy note, some kind of melony qualities as well. But yeah, a little bit of that lemony sherbet quality and some wheaty notes, as you'd kind of expect. Nothing overly surprising for the style, but it does smell quite nice. And it comes across as pretty damn fresh as well, I have to say. But yeah, take a little bit of time and enjoy the aroma of this one before you get stuck in. But let's have a taste of this one now. So this one's called All In, folks, a collaboration beer between Brekeriet in Landskrona and Skåne here in the south of Sweden, and All In Brewing, one of the phantom gypsy brewers, whatever you want to, ghost brewers, whatever you want to call them, from Gothenburg in Sweden. Let's get stuck into this one then. Slange, skål. Yeah, I mean, it's one thing that's kind of surprising me a little bit when it comes to the sour beers, because when I first started drinking them, I really just didn't like them that much at all. But the more and more you drink of these, and the more used to the style you get, you realise just how easy they are to drink. They're actually really refreshing, I have to say. But yeah, that's a nice one. It's very, again, it's very kind of straight up. It's really refreshing and easy to drink. So with this beer, you can feel that nice little that wheaty character that just blankets the middle of your palate there. You can feel there's a little bit of pale malt. There's a little bit of a thicker, wheaty kind of white bready quality on top of that. Maybe a little touch of a slightly biscuity sweetness in the centre of the palate, but mainly that kind of smooth, white, wheaty, bready quality blanket in the middle of your tongue. On the sides of the palate where you'd get the hops, a little bit of that noble, earthy sweetness there that I was talking about earlier. As you come further forward, that fades away, it becomes a little bit floral, and then round the very front curve of the tongue, it's just a little bit lighter and more grassy, I would say. But yeah, that's a really nice beer, this one. I like how everything goes together in this. It's really easy to drink. This is a great summer beer. That's probably the best way to kind of summarise this one. I'm not sure if it had actually... it said this was bottled in April 2018, so yeah, when I'm drinking this one, it is about 4 months old actually, but it's still maintained a good bit of freshness there, which is nice. You can still get some of the fruity, the kind of melony notes from the whole melon in this, but the noble hops are shining through a little bit more, and probably the earthiness is coming out a little bit more if it's at that point actually. But it does taste really nice, this. But yeah, I like how everything's going together in this one. So on the fruity side of things, like I said, round the very front curve of the palate, you've got that little oily bubble where the juicy, fruity esters start to come out of the beer. But with this one, if you go behind the front curve of the palate, you get a nice melony note coming out of this one. It really, the whole melon hop, it's named because of its flavour, but the melons in this one are really kind of quite juicy, and the sort of that lemony sharp quality that you expect of the Berliner Weiss is just coming out behind the front curve of the palate as well. It's everything in this beer, like I said, goes together really quite nicely. But yeah, as I say, I do like how everything is kind of going together in this one. It's blended together really quite nicely actually. if you get the chance to try this one, really just have a go at it. It's very straight up. It doesn't do anything overly surprising in terms of the style, and that's one of the things I've always thought about the all-in beers, is they don't do so much that's surprising in terms of the style, but they just pack them full of flavour. And that seems to be what they've done with this beer. It's really nicely balanced, and of course you've got that kind of sour Brekeriet edge to it, of course, which is really interesting too. It's cool to see these guys collaborate, because you've got a beer that's really full of flavour, and you've got that nice, really well done sour edge from Brekeriet as well. In terms of the mouthfeel of this one then, fairly light bodied. Carbonation does have a little bit of a prickle to it, but again, that's what you'd expect from the style. That's kind of how it does help bring out some of that nice sour quality to the beer. Nice little bit of hoppy bitterness to this one, mainly smooth hops at this point, though that may well be down to the fact that it's about 4 months old. Nice bit of juicy fruity quality, a bit of that lemon sherbety sharpness, tartness that you would expect from the style, and you know, smooth and sweet malt base to this one. So overall, it's a nice beer, this one. Very, very straight up, but again, very, very well done. And to be honest, you can't really ask for much more than that out of a Berliner Weiss. It's a style that you can add a lot of fruits to. You can try it with different hops and things like that, but at the end of the day, it's always going to be a nice smooth bready thing with a little bit of sour quality, and whatever different fruit you get from the hops are adding it into the beer. But overall, a nice one, and I'm glad that I was able to review this one for you. It's cool that you can actually get this beer in the supermarket here in Sweden as well. So yeah, have a go at it. If you're in your local ICA, check it out and see if you can get a hold of some of these Brekeriet beers, because they are pretty damn good. And as I say, the low alcohol ones, the Folksuls, I've always found from Brekeriet do tend to be pretty damn good, so check them out for yourself and see how you get on. But yeah, let's leave it at that for this one. So this one was the all-in, folks, a Berliner Weiss at 3.5% with whole melon hops from Germany, brewed a collaboration beer between Brekeriet from Landskrona and Skåne here in the south of Sweden, and all-in brewing from Göteborg, Gothenburg, which is basically Sweden's beer city these days. So yeah, thanks for watching my beer videos. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Check out my social media. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comments section below. Let me know what your favourite beers are from Brekeriet and All-In Brewing as well, and you will see me return to them in the fairly near future. Until the next time, it's Landon just now, and I'll catch you guys later. Skål.